Step 4, you got the walk around. Now, this is required before you even operate or take the vehicle out and drive on the road. And you cannot drive the vehicle if defects or there's any problems showing that it's not safe to drive that vehicle. Now, before you drive it, you want to make sure it's in safe operating condition. You want to also review the DVIR and sign the last DVIR to confirm that the repairs have been made previously. So you check the front of the vehicle, check that the vehicle is sitting level, the vehicle is not leaning or pulling to either side, or make sure that it's not uneven. Make sure that you check underneath of the vehicle for any leaks. Then you want to turn on the headlights, the tail lights, the clearance and ID marker lights, and four-way flashers. You want to do that as well by checking the lights, clearance lights, turn signals, and reflectors, and making sure that they're present, clean, clear, proper color, not cracked. They're correctly aimed, they're mounted securely, and they're working properly, and there's no condensation. And note, the clearance lights or identification lights, make sure that the clearance lights has 3 cluster of lights at the middle to show that the vehicle is over 80 inches wide. And that's usually commonly known for tractor trailer or combination vehicles. But in general, you want to check those clearance lights as well for your vehicle that you're driving. The 6 main areas of vehicle condition is the windshield wipers, the bumper, the license plate, the body of the vehicle, and the ground beneath the vehicle, which is underneath. So the windshield is not cracked, broken, or chipped. The wiper blades, it fits snugly against the glass and blades are secure. The bumper mounted securely. License plate is legibly, you can see it clearly, and it's properly attached. The body of the vehicle, make sure it's free of any damage. When you look at the body structure of the vehicle, the front, the sides, or the back of it is free of damage. Then the ground beneath the vehicle, which is underneath of it, low clearance, make sure that it's free of leaking fluids. Now, specifically, when you do the rest of the vehicle condition, you want to check the mirrors, which is outside the mirrors. Make sure it's present, clean, not damaged. The brackets are mounted secured with no missing nuts or bolts. Make sure it's properly adjusted. The door is not damaged, operates smoothly, closed securely from the outside. Then you want to check the weather seal or the rubber seal and make sure that it's intact and make sure it's securely mounted. They also call the weather seal weather strippings or rubber seal. Then you want to check the company name or DOT number. Usually that is placed on the side of the vehicle. Make sure that it's on the vehicle and you can visibly see it. Check the entry steps or the steps. Make sure it's clear, the treads are not worn excessively, and it's mounted secure. Then you want to check the battery in box or the batteries in box. Make sure the batteries are secure, connectors are tight, so no damage and it's not leaking. And the battery connections should not show signs of excessive corrosion. That's the major key thing. And make sure that the battery box and door is not damaged and it's mounted securely. Now, it may be on the left or right side or under the hood of the vehicle, depending on what type of truck, bus, tractor, or type of vehicle you're using. Now, the fuel cap and tank, make sure it's present, secured, the cap is on tight, there are no leaks from the tank or lines itself, and make sure it's mounted secured. Now, the chain is, make sure it's properly connected to the cap, and the chain is securely mounted to the tank. Usually, a tank will be tied together with a metal chain with rubber and metal straps. And then the chain itself usually will be hand tightened with a rubber seal and the metal chain itself. So in other words, you want to check for any steps, mountings, or seal or rubber strappings. That's what they mean by that, the fuel tank outside of it. So you want to check underneath of the vehicle for any leaks. Then the rest of the vehicle condition, the rear tractor or the rear of the vehicle, you want to make sure white reflector strips, which is the marking the tip corner of that tractor or vehicle, you want to make sure that's in place. Then the exhaust mounts or brackets of the exhaust system, you want to check for damage, signs of leaks such as rust or carbon soot. Then you want to check the frame itself, which is the frame and the body that covers the whole length of the vehicle. Make sure it's present, securely mounted, free from cracks, broken welds, holes, or other damage to the length of the frame rails or frame members cross members, or the box and floor of that vehicle. Then you want to check the drive shaft. So the drive shaft is either the drive line, the U-bolts, and the differentials. Make sure that they're present, mounted securely. Make sure it's not bent or cracked. Then the coupling itself should be free of foreign objects. Then you have the suspension. So the front hanger is tight, not damaged. U-bolts in the center. The hangers are in the rear. The hangers that's in the rear, they're tight, not damaged. And the springs are not cracked, damaged, and it's mounted securely. The shock absorbers itself, or sometimes in the back of the vehicle, you have air riders or airbags. You want to make sure they're intact, it's not leaking. And then we have air ride. So the air ride suspension, airbags itself, should not be leaking or damaged. Then you have the drive tires. So the drive tires is either the last set of tires in the back, if you have one axle, one drive axle, and if you have two axles, then it will be drive axle, then tandem axle. But either way, the back tires, you want to make sure that the minimum tread depth is 2/32 or 2/32 of an inch for the drive tires and any other tires, versus 4/32 of an inch is for the steering tires, the front steering tires. Make sure the front steering tires should not be recapped or retread on the steering axles. But the back of the tires, the drive tires, you can have recapped or regrooved tires. And recapped and regrooved means reuse. You can reuse tires in the back, but not in the front. So remember, the drive tires, those are the tires that actually drives the vehicle forward. You want to check the rims, the lug nuts, the hub oil level, and the oil seal for leaks. Then you'll check the valve stem and cap for the drive tires. Make sure they're present, not missing or broken or damaged, and is mounted securely. Then in the back, you have duo wheels, which is two wheels. Either it's going to be butted wheels, which is butted close together, or spacers, which is two wheels, but it's spacers. It's a space that separates between the two tires. But either way, the butted wheels, make sure the rims are tight together, make sure it's wedged between the tires and it's not damaged and it's mounted securely. Now the spacers, make sure that's present and mounted securely. The spacers are not bent, damaged, or rusted through, and it should be evenly centered. And then the dual wheels and tires should be evenly separated with no debris in between the tires. That's for the spacers. Then check the rear brakes and splash guards, also known as mud flaps or mud guards. You want to check the brake assembly, which is the brake system, the same way as you check in the front steering axle of the vehicle, and make sure that the splash guards, or some vehicles have mud guards or metal guards. You want to make sure they're not damaged, mounted securely, and it has the proper length. Then you have the rear lights, the back lights, the tractor or vehicle lights. Make sure that the clearance lights, tail lights, backing lights, turn signal lights, brake lights, and reflectors are clean, proper color, not cracked, and it's mounted securely with no condensation. Then you got the reflectors and reflector tape. Make sure it's clean and in place. Then you have the marker lights and other optional lights. Make sure that that's working properly, it's not cracked or damaged, and it's mounted securely. And the side marker lights will generally indicate or show the length of the vehicle itself. Then you have the front of the trailer. Now, this is for combination vehicles, Class A vehicles. You would have the trailer. For front of the trailer, you want to check the clearance lights, that they're in place and they're yellow or amber in color. Check the headboard of the trailer, make sure that it's not damaged. Check the air and electrical lines, that they're not rubbing or damaged, and make sure it's properly secured to the tractor and trailer. And that's if the trailer is connected. Then the disconnected air and electrical lines, you want to make sure that they are stored in a location that will protect it from road and weather damage. Then you want to inspect the trailer body, which is the whole frame, their lines, the whole body of the trailer. Make sure inspect it for any defects. Then for the tractor trailer, which is the trailer combination vehicle only, there's certain extra parts that you need to inspect, which is crucial because you're not just driving a regular truck or a regular vehicle, you're driving a combination, two vehicles connected together in one. So For the tractor trailer, combination vehicle only, you have the fifth wheel. And the fifth wheel is basically a coupling device used to join the front of the trailer to the tractor. You want to make sure that the trailer is attached, the upper plate is attached, and it's mounted secure with no broken welds or missing or loose bolts. Then you want to check the fifth wheel plate is not cracked or damaged. And if not connected to the trailer, check that it has grease on it. Then you want to check pivot pins, they're tight, they're mounted to the frame, bolts, and they're tight, none are missing, cracked, or damaged, and it's mounted securely. And then if the trailer has a sliding fifth wheel, you want to make sure that the slide locks in place and not allowing the slide assembly itself to move. Now, if the trailer is connected and the fifth wheel is locked, you want to check the handle position and jaws from the rear of the fifth wheel. Then you want to check the gland hands, which is connectors that connects the air lines from the tractor. You want to make sure that the seals are not kinked, cut, or torn. And if so, then that means it must be replaced. And then, of course, the kingpin is a peg or pin attached to the trailer in order to actually pull it. Then you also want to check the landing gear when it comes to the tractor trailer combination vehicles. This is for combination vehicles specifically. You want to check the landing gear, that is mounting iron and bracing is in good condition, and the handle is working properly with no welds or bolts or braces. You want to make sure that the bolts and braces are not damaged. In the trailer axle, you want to check the same parts as you check on the drive wheels, which is the drive axles. You want to make sure that the suspension, brakes, and tires, you want to check that if you have a trailer tandem, this is important. Make sure that the locking pins are fully extended and it's in good condition. The reflectors, make sure you can see it clearly, visibly show that the red and white color reflectors, make sure that you can see it on the full length of the side of the vehicle. And the tape must continue across and rear and the bumper of the vehicle. So it must show all cylinders, all sides of the vehicle, and check that 2 white strips marking each of the rear top corner of the trailer. So in other words, check that 2 white strips marking each at the rear top of that trailer. Then you want to check the cargo door, which is the back door. Make sure the hinges are not damaged, mounted securely, the weather seal is intact, and the door opens and closes and latches properly from the outside. And that's both open and closed positions. Now, rear lights, which is the tail lights, the four-way flashers, the reverse lights, the brake lights, turn signals, etc. All of the rear lights, make sure they're functioning and working properly. All the lights in the back or in the rear must be red in color, except for the turn signals. Now, they are yellow. Make sure yellow or amber in color. I've seen some trucks or some vehicles, they have the turn signals red in color. But either way, making sure they're working properly, and the reverse lights should be white or clear in color. Then you want to check the bumper and license plate. Make sure that it's not cracked, loose, or missing, and the license plate is legible. You can visibly clearly see it, and it's firmly attached. Then you have the passenger side of the vehicle. So you want to check the top, down, under the vehicle, and check everything the same way as you did on the driver's side. And also check the exhaust system, make sure it's free from black soot. Check the passenger door, make sure that it has the correct company name and US DOT number. And the steps, the entry steps are in good condition. So remember, follow the same procedure every time you do the pre-trip inspection. You want to do the pre-trip inspection the same way every time to make sure you're safely inspecting your vehicle fully. Hey, BET Trainer here. Listen, if you really had true value out of this video, go ahead and click that like button and share some honest comments about this video, because this is going to help other people as well see the video and get the value information, so that way they can be inspired by what you're doing right now as well. So also, if you want to get the latest updates, go ahead and click the subscribe button, so then you can be able to always be
updated on the next instant video that will be put out. So again, go ahead and do that. And this video was sponsored by BET Life Services and CDL for Life.